Godzilla! Hopefully I don't get interrupted again. I was on a roll for a little bit. I did stutter a bit at points, but I was on a roll the first time I was doing this video. Then the damn phone rang. So irritating. So, Godzilla King of the Monsters. I'm going to preface this right now by saying I was a fan of the 2014 one, but I acknowledge pretty much all the problems most people have with the movie. Like, not enough Bryan Cranston. He got killed off. I got a fly swatter in my hand because there's a fly roaming around here, and I can't get a clean shot on him right now. Then not enough Godzilla. The fact that they would cut away from the fights real quick. The human characters were kind of boring. This one improves on a lot of that. Like, they show a lot more of the monsters. But they kind of double down on the problems of the film. Let's quickly go over the problems of the film, because I went on a long 10-minute spiel last time. I'm going to try to keep it under 5 this time. There's a little shaky cam here and there, particularly like at close-range night scenes with the monsters, but it's nothing serious. But the big problem of this movie is that half the human characters just are... No, they suck. They're bad. They're not bad people. Well, one of them is. They just suck as characters. The Monarch half of the group, like Ken Watanabe, Sally Hawkins, the other folks, they're fine. They're actually fine. Kyle Chandler, Vera Farmiga, Millie Bobby Brown. Millie Bobby Brown honestly doesn't even need to be in the movie. If I'm going to be honest, she does not. She's only there to turn on her mother, get the Orca signal, which is the echolocation device that allows them to communicate with the monsters, to Fenway. To lure King Ghidorah there for the final fight. That's all she's there. That's ultimately all she's there for. She's a very, very loose plot device that doesn't need to be there. But let's assume. But honestly, she's probably the most likable of the three. Oddly enough, Kyle Chandler's just the standard. We lost her son in 2014, which they open up with that. Lost her son in the first event, the San Francisco event, and I started drinking. She saw that we broke up, but I'm a scientist. I can do just about anything. I hate Godzilla. I want him dead. And then, nope. I was wrong. Godzilla's awesome. Godzilla's a good guy. We need him. Bite me! I didn't... Especially because here's the thing. We know Godzilla actually is important to the ecosystem as the viewer. We know that. So while watching this guy, he's like, I hate them all. You should kill them all. I was like, shut up. In my mind, I'm like, shut up. I am sorry you lost your son. Do you know how many other people lost others that day? You know how many other people have lost people around the world? That's what all they are. They're natural disasters. And quite frankly, we couldn't kill them to begin with. So, I'm sorry, get over it. Because frankly, when you actually break it down, Godzilla hadn't been seen for the next 5 years afterwards. Which means Godzilla really isn't the one to blame for the shit that went down in that fight. Because he hasn't done any other shit since then. If he were as bad as you were saying, dangerous as you were saying, he'd be wreaking havoc, old school Godzilla style, destroying Tokyo, New York City, all the other places. But no, he just minds his own freaking business, and you just hate him. You just hate him. Say, well, I get the grief. I understand that, and you need a target. You need a focal point for your grief. As a 30, 40-something-year-old man, grow up. But you know what? I can still tolerate him more than Vita Farmiga's character's self-righteous ass. You see it in the first trailer too. It's like, the Earth is the disease, we're the virus. The only cure is the Titans, the rightful rulers. And they even show that apparently the excess radiation they produce actually stimulates new growth of life. So that's interesting, and I can get the mindset in some way. However, she basically is going to start releasing monsters to, destroy the world and stuff like that to reform. It's like, do you realize how many millions, if not billions of lives are going to die because of your actions? It's like, well, no, she doesn't, and I don't think anyone actually really tried to sum that up to her until she realized that Ghidorah was controlling them and not her. It's like, oh God, yeah. And then Charles Dance's like, we opened Pandora's box. You knew what this was going to be about. Which we'll get to Charles Dance in just a second. And I like Charles Dance, but we'll get to him in a second. And it's like, no, you're a self-righteous prick who's just going to hide in a bunker while the world is destroyed, reformed, and billions of lives are going to die. And this is all because you lost your son. Kiss my ass. And by the way, Charles Dance, frankly, doesn't need to be here at all in this movie either. I love Charles Dance, but why? Because he's an environmental terrorist who she got in contact with to use his like men and stuff like that to get around, and she frankly could have just done it herself with a little finesse and finagling. And then there's no payoff for Charles Dance at the end either. He just disappears. We have what we need. So, well, actually, one second. Jonah, wait a second. Yeah, okay. All right, now I see, because I'm reading the post-credit scene that I missed, actually. I see where they're going, and I think I see what the thing they're going to do in Kong versus Godzilla is going to be. But look, there's spoilers in this, obviously. I'm not going to spoil that. But point being is that otherwise these characters don't need to be here. If you're going to have... Why couldn't it have been at least just one of them? Via Farmiga. Just have it Via Farmiga. Have the Monarch crew be the main characters we're following throughout most of it, because they're better written than the main human characters we got. If we have to have human characters follow along, even have Charles Dance there, and then have her finally betray him and do the right thing at the end. And one more thing, have her live to kind of like Tyrion Lannister a little bit at the end of Game of Thrones. Is that that's too easy. He's going to spend the rest of his days fixing the mess he made. She has to go and martyr herself, be like, oh, this is the... She doesn't say it, but like, this is the only way. I'm gonna be the hero and martyr myself and make amends for everything I've done. For everything I've done. Now, what I really would have preferred is anyone. Could have been a random no-name, could have been a character we knew. She's about to do that. She, boom, gets clocked in the head with the butt of a rifle. They pull her, drag her ass in there. And he's like, why'd you... She's like, look, I get what she was trying to go for, but her dying isn't going to make amends for what isn't what she's done. She wants to make amends, try to patch up the relationship with her family, and spend the rest of her waking days trying to make right what she made wrong. That would have been better. I don't mind characters sacrificing himself for the proper cause. I get it. Like Yondu in Guardians, for example. Guardians Volume 2. Made sense. He's someone who made more mistakes than he could, but given the circumstances, that made sense. He was going to sacrifice himself to save his son, and it worked in that context. And this, no, there was other ways that could have gone. It could have been, ugh. So for all that complaining, this movie really is, though, just an awesome kaiju slugfest. We like going to a lot of the mythos, just great stuff. See, I can eat that stuff up. We do find out Ghidorah is an alien, so there's that. Interesting. But the actual, when Ghidorah awakens, it's awesome. The fights between him and Godzilla. See, I think the Oxygen Destroyer, they introduced that, might be indicating they might go destroy it. But if that post-credit scene is anything to go by, maybe not. Which, I'll save the post-credit scene, which I didn't see, but I'm reading right now, till at the end. And yeah, Mothra did survive. The fight sequences, when they're not, some of them are a little shaky, admittedly, but are really good. I mean, this is just smackdown kaiju fighting. This is, yeah. And what I loved is they brought back, at least in a slightly altered version, but they brought back the old, I can't do the sound right. But the old Godzilla music. They brought that back. I'm like, I was just kind of like giddy. There was a great fight with Rodan and Mothra. That was cool to see. We see a bunch of original kaijus because they don't have the rights to a bunch of the other Toho ones, unfortunately. Like we see this mammoth one that's kind of like a mammoth, but with no trunk. It's just got these long tusks. This crab kind of mollusk spider kaiju, which was really cool. Another Muto, which was whatever. but still just really cool to see. And then obviously the final fight is just awesome. Ken Watanabe does sacrifice stuff to regenerate Godzilla, but it's just so cool to see, Godzilla and Ghidorah throw down. Mothra comes in, and they tag team. The Rodan comes in. It's so awesome. And then we get to the point where I'm like, okay, I saw this coming, and then I realized finally when it happened, I'm like, oh dear Lord. When Burning Godzilla shows up, just bam, bam, bam. I can't do that sound, that dread Godzilla noise right. But it's just so sick. And he's just, Ghidorah's lightning isn't doing shit to him at that point. Godzilla's like, yeah, screw you. Oh man, then you see that my girlfriend leans over, it's just like, no, Ghidorah's still alive. Then you just see one of the Ghidorah's heads still alive. Because Ghidorah apparently has the ability to regenerate his heads like a Hydra, which is probably where that legend came from. And, Godzilla just vaporizes him. And then all the monsters come and bow to him. He's the king of the monsters. It's awesome. And apparently Titans converging on Skull Island, ancient paintings of Godzilla battling Kong. So apparently Godzilla did fight their species before. At least his species did. But then apparently there is a post-credits scene. And apparently, Tywin Lannister, Charles Dance's character Jonah, who's actually, it's revealed that Ghidorah officially reveals one of Ghidorah's decapitated heads, and he buys it. Now, if I were to be a betting man, if I would prefer one or the other, I'd prefer Destroyer. I'd love to see what their take on Destroyer looks like, if nothing else. If I'm going to be honest, though, it sounds like because of the regenerative capabilities of Ghidorah, we're going to get Mecha Ghidorah. We're going to get Mecha King Ghidorah for King Kong versus Godzilla. Now, it's possible they could go another way. Something tells me they're going to go that route. Or they create Destroyer through the remains of King Ghidorah, which would actually be pretty freaking sick. No, I said, I was like, oh man, because he was formed from a crab initially, so yeah, I'd be completely down. Yeah. So ultimately, though, despite the complaints I had, and they are there. Like if I saw this movie again, and I might, I wouldn't. I'd have a hard time sitting through the crap that I did not like. But there's enough in there that I'm like, yeah, first off, go see it on the big screen, because it's a movie that is tailor-made to the big screen. Absolutely. It's a big movie. That said, though, I don't know how. I hope this movie does well. A $200 million budget, it's probably going to make them. And trust me, once we got to like the final weeks, we're getting TV spot trailers after that. So there's probably close to $200 million in marketing. It means the movie has to make about $600 million to break even. Now, I think the movie will do that, and it'll probably make more. It'll probably make a profit. I hope. I hope. I hope. But ultimately, yeah. We'll see what happens with it. So this week will give us good indication. If it can open to, they're saying like 50 to 60 million. I'm hoping it's 50 maybe to 70 million. If it can open to like 85 million or higher, it's got a good chance. Absolutely. But my thoughts on Godzilla versus Godzilla King of Monsters is I liked it. I did. When we get the actual monsters and things along those lines, it's just an all-out monster fest. I loved it. I just had a great time with it. So ultimately, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Now, trailer-wise, we did get 2 new trailers. Well, not 2 new trailers. One of them was a completely new trailer I didn't even see at all. And that's for The Kitchen, starring Melissa McCarthy, Tiffany Haddish, and I don't even know who the last person is. Based actually off a DC comic, believe it or not, about these mob wives in the 70s who take over the crime business when their husbands are in jail and, start to become their own crime lords, which actually looks pretty interesting. And then the other one was The Dead Don't Die with Bill Murray, Adam Driver, Tilda Swinton. This is a zombie flick. It looks fun. So ultimately, that's my thoughts on Godzilla King of the Monsters. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. Do a review of it at some point. Ideas for who would win, Star Wars, Superhero, Magic, what if, anything to do on the channel. Put that in the comments below as well. I'll get to that at some point. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you folks next time. Who Would Win's going to be bumped to tomorrow just because I'm under time constraints today, but I have the day off tomorrow. So thanks for watching. Later.